What's up, guys? Wanted to talk real quick about. I just finished watching Bellator 258, and I want to talk about the main event. It was for the bantamweight title. Juan Archuleta versus Sergio Pettis. Very solid fight. Very action packed. Very technical fight. Both fighters were very technical. Um, Juan Archuleta with his tricky footwork, and he was a great champion. I'd say his tricky footwork, very sneaky wrestling, and also very solid striking game that he has. But the victory came for Sergio Pettis after a very long time or chasing a title. He finally gets a title shot here in Bellator, uh, and he made the most of it, man. He really came out looking good. Um, his counter striking was on point. He was landing. Um, every time Archuleta came in with his tricky style, with his tricky uh, wavy style coming in to his opponent's range and landing his shots. He was landing. Archuleta was landing, but Pettis was making him pay for it every time without hesitation, without very with a jab, with a straight right that was landing. Mainly because Archuleta, every time he was coming in, he would shoot and he would land some shots, but his left was always. I would notice his left was always down, and just um, Sergio Pettis made a statement, man. He was landing that right, and not only that, but Archuleta would shoot for for takedowns. He would get the takedown. The moments that he would he would um, get the takedowns. Sergio Pettis made it a point of getting right back up. He will get right back up, and the judges see that. The judges see when there's a wrestler getting his takedowns, but not being able to keep that opponent down. And Sergio Pettis was that opponent. He just wasn't staying down. He was getting up. The scrambles, he was just looking good. He looked stronger. He looked more solid. I mean, I can't take away anything for Archuleta because he's also a stud. Both of them very well-rounded fighters. But it was a good decision. It was a good decision, and Sergio Pettis finally gets to be a champion, and I'm very glad because the kid he is he you can tell that he works very hard for it. He trains with his big brother Anthony Pettis, and that's a fighting family right there. And I think he deserved the decision for sure. He got the win, and it was a very action-packed fight. It lasted the 5 rounds. Um, Both of them landed very solid shots, and they were eating it. They were eating those shots and making um, countering each other. Just so happens that with the wrestling and the way Sergio Pettis kept getting up and kept getting the better of those scrambles. Uh, it didn't surprise me that the judges saw it for him. I was impartial. I wasn't rooting for either one, because I like both fighters, and I think that they're both great examples of hard-working fighters that should get those opportunities. And Bellator is a promotion that has a lot of good fighters. It's just that Bellator is not good at promoting fighters. I always had that problem with that promotion. But the production is looking better now that they're in Showtime, and they're they're promoting it's a lot better. The production is better. It looks like they cut all those fighters that weren't really doing anything for the promotion. They were cut, and they kept, the good ones, and they're making sure that every fight that they're putting, every event they're putting in Showtime, uh, looks good, and it reminds me of the old days, the old Strikeforce days, when we used to see great fights, and this was one of them, one of those title fights that they it stays with you, and it's gonna be very interesting to see what Sergio Pettis is gonna do. I think he's gonna be a great champion, and he's gonna be hard to beat, man, because the guy has learned, he has evolved, he's so much better, such a great striker, and now he has great takedown defense. His cardio's on point. Um, just one of those kids that is peaking, and he's looking, the best that he can look, and I think there's even room for him to get better. So I'm thinking Bellator is doing a good job, and I was glad to see that the bantamweight title was the main event for it, and for this event for Bellator 258, and I'm looking forward to what's next. If if there's anything that I'm not liking too much, I'm not too hot on, is in the commentary, particularly McCarthy. Uh, he's commentating is kind of biased at times. It's kind of annoying. There's when there's significant when he goes on a narrative about one fighter doing good, he keeps talking, and when he's talking, he's missing. It's not that he's missing. Maybe he sees it on his monitor, but since he's talking, um, he fails to mention um, what the other opponent is doing. Like I'll give you an example. He was doing good with mentioning how Sergio Pettis was countering and landing his right, and making sure that he would point that out. But at the same time, only after the third round did he start mentioning how good Archuleta was also landing at certain points. But while he and um, the other guy were talking, they would fail to mention maybe a good shot that Archuleta would land. They would mention they would fail to mention um, the body shots. Archuleta landed a lot of great body shots that if you were just listening on the radio to the commentary, you wouldn't know, because McCarthy just, he wasn't calling those body shots. He wasn't. Um, Mauro was doing better of being impartial, and mentioning both sides as they were fighting. That's just one of nitpicks that I have with McCarthy. I think he's got a long way to go as a commentator. I'm not sold on him yet. I think a third guy is needed there, somebody better than him, somebody more experienced that can call the action in a better way. I'm not sure if these commentators have in their ear, they tell him to go with a certain narrative. Not that he wasn't right. Sergio Pettis was doing well with the countering, uh, counter shots. He was, and like I said, he deserved the win. But I believe that Archuleta also had great moments, and some of those great moments, just by ear, you wouldn't know they were happening, because they were just not being mentioned. That's just one nitpick that I have with commentating at Bellator right now. Thanks, guys, for listening to me. Great main event, and looking forward to what Sergio Pettis does in the future. And I'm thinking that Archuleta is gonna do good, and work his way up to a title shot again. I see it coming. Thanks for listening to me, guys. Give me some comments, likes, dislikes, and subscribe to my channel so I can keep talking about MMA. I love MMA. Thank you. Peace.